one, aka INDIGOSKEYE, aka Trigger Ranking. What's happening, everybody? We up in this thing. Y'all know we finna go to. Y'all know where we going. I know where we going with it. Going to most scandalous Los Angeles. That's where we going, y'all. How's everybody doing? Did y'all have a good day today? Any topics y'all want to hit on while we looking for the content? Y'all let me know. We could talk about it. So yeah, let me play one of my little beats or whatever while we waiting to see if this shit load up. So we did this earlier. That's the love joy fight. So this nigga got put to sleep again out here. We're gonna do the Reggie, the bomb first shit.
Skin was gonna say, hey John, I got a question for you. How does it make you feel when Reggie calls me a white cracker right in front of you? It doesn't bother
you finally acknowledging that you are a white man.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
It wouldn't even be as bad if you used your real voice, but the fact that you try to use an AI voice that sounds like a black person is kind of disrespectful in itself. You're misrepresenting who you are or what you are, so yeah, I have no problem with that.
Welcome back to Scandalous Los Angeles TV, where we expose the exposers. Not only do we ETE, expose the exposers, but we also ETE, edify through entertainment.
Edify through
entertainment. Exactly what we
entertainment.
plan to do today. By now you already know about the drama unfolding between us and Bomb First. The other day I uploaded a video titled, Marion Knight Goes Nuclear on Reggie Wright and Whack 100, that Bomb First had taken down, claiming it was harassment. The video I did wasn't using their content. It actually came from Discretion TV. I simply highlighted a moment where Simon said, every woman Reggie had, he had first. That's what they struck me for. And yeah, after all that, I responded with a little humor. Dropped a few funny visuals like Notorious P.I.G. and the Refrigerator Reggie. But only after they tried to take me down over content that didn't even belong to them. Then they took it a step further and hit me with a copyright strike on a full-length video I myself. That wasn't about copyright. That was about trying to silence me. So
damn, son.
And got in touch with John at Bomb First. Reggie and John agreed to retract the strike, and we're just waiting for that to be approved. We also reaffirmed the original agreement. I can still cover Reggie when it's relevant, as long as it's done respectfully, which it always has been, until the strike.
But he want to say this, trying to promote his little channel. Reggie, I thought you said you could tap at each other. And we can't tap each other, but lying on people? Why are you starting me? You start.
We're missionaries for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Of course we saw everyone and ask how their day is. Hi!
Welcome back to Scandalous Los Angeles TV, where we expose the exposers. Just when you think it couldn't get any colder, it does. Delray Richardson digging up some old paperwork that originally appeared on J-Mix's channel. But it hits a whole lot different reading it now. According to this police report, on September 16th, 1996, just 3 days after Tupac's murder, Reggie Wright Jr. called the police to inform on Marion Knight. He reported that
I believe that Reggie White Jr. did that shit. I believe that. Cause it's like, even though they did catch Suge on tape or whatever, like I don't even think the way Suge had his shit set up, he had so much money, man. He could have paid his probation officer off, bro. Like I don't really believe. Like I believe this nigga snitched on him, bro.
Marion was
I
using
mean, he was a police, so
blood gang members
it's not far fetched.
as armed in the wake of Tupac's death. This was apparently an attempt to get Simon violated and locked up, opening the door for Reggie to step in and take control of Death Row Records. 3 days.
Shit crazy because like the Death Row Records shit, like this man took over a whole company, like millions and millions of dollars, bro. He didn't even know what the fuck he was doing. If he knew what he was doing, he probably still would have been the owner of Death Row right now, bro. Like
After losing Tupac,
stupid shit.
Reggie was already making his move. If that's not cold-blooded, I don't know what is.
Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. It's your boy Delray Richardson, platinum artist, platinum songwriter, Straight Game TV. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate your time. Do me a favor, click on the thumbs up button. Also subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And like I always say, if you want to be one of the first people notified when I drop some of the Straight Game, please do me a favor and click on what appears to be that little bell notification. And please share the videos on your by sharing, click sharing, yeah, from that perspective. I'm gonna get right into it. Ladies and gentlemen.
Now, for those of you guys who don't already know, Delray Richardson is a multi-platinum songwriter, producer, and recording artist, known for his work with some of hip-hop's most iconic figures. Operating under the moniker DJ Delvenara, he has collaborated with artists such as Tupac, Dr. Dre, Eminem, 50 Cent, and The Game. His contributions span songwriting, production, and performance, cementing his reputation in the industry. Richardson is also the founder of Del Funk Boy Music, LLC, a Los Angeles-based independent record label. And
I don't know how this dude had showed up on my feed or whatever, but for some reason he on my feed now. I had went and followed old boy cause he got some good content, and like he said, he a producer. You know, I'm a producer too, so.
Music publishing company established in 1996. The label has achieved gold and platinum certifications and has secured numerous placements in television and film. In addition to his music career, Richardson has been vocal about industry practices, notably discussing financial disputes involving Death Row Records and Tupac Shakur. He revealed that Death Row owed Tupac approximately $17 million from album sales.
Damn. God damn. 17. They owe the nigga $17 million? God damn. Wow. $17 million, bro. That's crazy.
Highlighting issues of artist compensation and contractual agreements within the music industry. Delray Richardson's conflict with Ray.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like, y'all out here doing music, bro. Y'all dealing with these companies and shit like that. Like, y'all gotta be, you know what I'm saying? Be on your business. Have you a lawyer watching a lawyer. Like, you know what I'm saying? Make sure your money right, bro. When you getting, like, look how much the company is worth. Shit like that. Like, how much of a percentage you're gonna get out of it. I mean, one time back in the day, Drake asked for 1% of Apple. It was like, man, get the fuck out here with that shit, bro.
Stems from a series of public accusations and legal actions that have unfolded over the years. He has been vocal about his criticisms of Reggie, particularly concerning Wright's alleged involvement in events surrounding Tupac's death and the operations of Death Row Records. Richardson uses his platform to discuss these issues, which has led to heightened tensions between the two. The tensions escalated into a legal battle when on November 8, 2023, Reggie filed a lawsuit against Delray Richardson in the U.S. District Court for the Central District of California. The case, titled Reginald Wright versus Delray Richardson, centered on claims of assault, libel, and slander. Wright alleged that Richardson made defamatory statements about him, which were disseminated through various media channels. As part of their settlement, Del Rey agreed to stop calling him Reggie the Rat Wright Jr.
Man, he went on goddamn Piers Morgan and told that man new asshole, bro. That nigga Suge went on there and made it look like goddamn Snoop and him had something to do with
Now,
that shit.
while I'm not exactly clear what Reggie agreed to in return, one thing's certain, he didn't stick to it. And once Reggie broke the agreement, Del Rey wasted no time. He brought the nickname right back. Reggie the Rat is back in full effect.
Reggie the Rat
Because
Wright
according to
Jr.
Del Rey, Reggie didn't keep his word.
Ladies and gentlemen, shout out to J Mix. I want to show you that Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. has always been trying to get rid of Suge Knight so that he could possibly take over Suge Knight's empire.
Reggie had a game plan, and he made it very, very clear that he wanted to take over Death Row Records.
Look.
Make no mistake about it.
Told you. That man want to take over Death Row. Come on, bro. You tripping.
Need a free phone?
You
Listen up.
tripping,
If you're on
bro.
SNAP, Medicaid, SSI, or Section 8, you're eligible for a brand new...
And he made it very, very clear that he wanted to take over Death Row Records. Make no mistake about it.
Right? And so now, not only take over his empire at the time, but now even hijack his stories. Ladies and gentlemen, pay attention to this. So there was a story about Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. Trying to get Suge Knight's probation revoked, right? And this was in 1996. This was shortly after the death of Tupac Shakur, which before Suge was even going through the situation where he actually got violated for the situation at the MGM Grand.
At the hotel.
But check this out. It was discussed by J Mix. J Mix had did a video and he had the paperwork and he talked about an Officer Knox. The sad part about it is Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. denied, talking to any kind of police, never talking to LAPD or anything like that. He blamed it on, well, me and Suge, we went down there and it was in relation to, the boys that got the gun pulled out on them by Suge at the studio and so on and so forth. It was an outright lie. Here's the paperwork, and I want you to check this out. This is serious, ladies and gentlemen. Why do I call him Reggie the Rat Wright Jr.? I'm gonna show you how deceptive, how snake-like, how conniving Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. has been. I need you to pay attention to this. Check it out. So, on 9/16, ladies and gentlemen, listen to me. When did Tupac die? When did Tupac die?
The 18th?
Tupac died on 9/13.
13, my bad.
This is 3 days later, ladies and gentlemen. 3 days later after Tupac's death. Right? Watch officers Jeter and Yamamoto were working a crime suppression detail to address gang activity problems. Activity problems at Death Row Records. 18730 Oxnard Street, Suite 211. Officer Jeter spoke with the head of security at Death Row, Reggie Wright, and was informed, listen ladies, and was informed by Mr. Wright that since the death of Tupac 3 days earlier,
Damn.
since the death of Tupac, Marion Suge Knight was now using gangsters, Bloods from Compton, as his own
protection.
personal bodyguards.
Damn, son.
Yep. That's exactly what happened.
Officers Jeter was familiar with Knight's personal vehicle, which was there at the time at approximately 0500 hours. Jeters and Yamamoto observed 4 vehicles. This conversation basically led to an attempted felony stop of Suge Knight within hours. He watched the 4 vehicles leave.
I know when Suge got stopped by the police, I know he was like, looking at the car like,
Death Row Records,
license
in
and
caravan
registration.
fashion, the officer observed Suge Knight in the middle vehicle of the caravan. The officers attempted to stop Suge Knight's vehicle, but were interfered in making the stop by the rear vehicle, a green Humvee, driven by rapper MC Hammer. Subsequently, Hammer was questioned and released, warned only, right? Knight and the rest of his gang caravan elude the police. Ladies and gentlemen,
Hold on, y'all. I ain't got
Vacation
premium. Give me a
starts with
second.
the X.
right? Knight and the rest of his gang caravan elude the police. Ladies and gentlemen, I first want to give you first have to understand the timeline. And what it says to me that most people were thinking that Suge Knight was really, dealing with Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. that way. You could clearly see at that particular time that Suge no longer trusted Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. with his security after what happened approximately a week earlier, if you will, on September 7th, 1996. Now, when you go back to this right here, you'll see clearly, dude, this is beyond comprehension, man. On 9/16, 1996, this is 3 days after Tupac died, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. is ratting on Suge Knight. He's informing the police that since the death of Tupac Shakur, Marion Suge Knight was now using gangsters, Bloods from Compton in his own personal body as his own personal bodyguards, and they were armed. Ladies and gentlemen,
Check this out. I would have did the same thing. If Reggie Wright Jr. told the security that night not to carry firearms when they were supposed to be protecting Tupac and all them, and then especially after the fight and everything, I would have got the gangsters from the hood. They helped me too, bro, because you ain't doing shit. You let a nigga get shot up. You let the biggest bag in the company get killed. And then I damn near lost my life. I got shot in my head fucking around with you.
and it doesn't get any worse than this. When you talk about somebody being a backstabber, like the OJ song said, right? They smile in your face, but all at the same time they want to take your place.
Nigga.
Backstabbers.
Backstab.
If you look in the dictionary, you will see Reggie the Rat Wright Jr.'s face right there. What it says to me, and the reason why this was being done, was Tupac was out of the way now, right? Tupac gone, And like I told you, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. Created the environment in which he's been caught in so many lies, right? Saying, well, I never told them to not carry guns. We already know that's a lie because the security guard who was Michael's roommate basically confessed on the tape that Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. did in an interview with Tim Williams, his name is, right? Go check it out. It's over there on Bumps First. But more importantly, You gotta understand the time and what's going on at this particular time. See, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. has always been trying to pass the buck over to Frank Alexander, and everybody else was incompetent, right? But here, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr., 3 days after Tupac's death, is informing the police that Suge Knight is now using gangsters, Bloods from Compton, as his own personal bodyguards, and that they were armed. He was snitching as Suge Knight was right there outside in the parking lot, and they observed the vehicles leaving, and they tried to pull him over based on the information that Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. provided against the guy who ultimately set him up to have a job, to have a company, and do all of these things. Ladies and gentlemen, if you do not understand who Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. is, from this right here, and like I said, you got to take into consideration the time. And Tupac ain't been dead a month. He ain't been dead 1 month. And Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. has already flipped on Suge, because what he realized was that now, after being fired by Tupac on the 22nd, less than 30 days ago, prior to Tupac's being shot and succumbing to the gunshot wounds, right? Right? Not even 30 days later, not even 3 days after or a month after Tupac's death, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. is informing to Officer Jeter and Officer Yamamoto about Suge Knight having his personal security being conducted by gangsters, Blood members. See, and because 1 minute Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. will tell you that I grew up with all these guys and trying to get you to think that he was some way sort of ingratiated with these guys. See, this is
how you doing, man? We in this thing chilling, man. Like, yes, sir. And we in here.
The common method. This is the thing that he does, right? But then on the flip side, right, he will go and do this. He will go and do this. 3 days after Tupac died, AM watch officers, Jeter and Yamamoto, were working a crime suppression detail to address gang activity. And what I like about this is, it's dated and it's timed, right? So there can be no ambiguity as to whether this is true. They documented it, right? Right? A gang a suppression detail to address gang activity problems at Death Row Records, 18730 Oxnard Street, Suite 211. I believe that was the studio.
Had no Espanol, not even poquito.
That they were at, right? Officer Jeter spoke with the head of security. Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. said, I never had no conversation. So he even lied about this because he said he never had a conversation with him, right? Reggie the Rat was informed. Listen, Reggie Wright, they talked to Reggie Wright and they were informed by Mr. Wright that since the death of Tupac, Murray and Suge Knight was now using Gangsta's Blood members from Compton as his personal detail. Remember at the Soul Train Music Awards? At the Soul Train Music Awards too. Reggie did the same thing. Reggie snitched on the other guys. Now, we don't really know what was going to go on. We seen the night that Suge Knight was there. Suge Knight also had on one of those burgundy sweatshirts that said something about, I think, P-Funk or whatever on. And you see Tupac had the fatigue jacket on that night at the Soul Train Music Awards, right? But listen, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. did the same exact thing in January, February, March of 2016, right? He said he informed the police. Once again, that's what Suge Knight called him, a Judas. So do you think, based on that incident and this incident in which Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. can't deny, based on the date, time, I mean, I'm just appalled that it's 3 days after Tupac died. You know? And now all of a sudden, the guy who was the head of the failed security, and I can understand, Suge probably using his homeboys now. He couldn't trust Reggie. Reggie was a weak link. Look what happened in Vegas.
Damn.
So Suge said, you know what? I'm gonna take it, you know, with the homies because, like I said, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. had failed. This is this is clear evidence that Suge had lost confidence in Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. Period. So for all of the people saying, well, why did Suge let Reggie run his company? This is proof right here. Reggie didn't run the company. He didn't run nothing. Like I told you, it was Miss Chalet. I showed you guys the affidavit. And where Suge said, when they asked him in court, who ran your company while you were incarcerated? And he said, Miss Chalet. Reggie was just a liaison. He was not a label boss. He always wanted Suge Knight out of the way.
Damn.
And you can clearly see with this right here.
Damn, okay.
You can clearly see it. So
He clearing it up. He clearing it up a little bit.
I want you to understand who you've been listening to, right? The lies that they've been telling. Gullible John also knows all of this, tried to jump on the bandwagon and trying to exploit Tupac, his music, his name, and John did not even know Tupac. So you gotta understand, take this really, you gotta digest this, man. This is 9/16/1996, man. 3 days after Tupac died. And the police are coming, and like I said, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. is basically telling on Suge, and it led to the conversation, or the informed information conversation led to an attempted felony traffic stop of Suge Knight within hours. Within hours. Amazing. Amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, like I said, you see what it is now that's going on? This is the reason why Suge Knight called Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. a Judas. Your boy Del Rey, straight game.
How we going to the next one, y'all?
With the help of zero accounting software, I've got the right information at my fingertips. So business is a brain. And I've got bigger plans. Search zero with an X.
Reggie Wright Jr., I believe police officers were a big part of the hit.
And sometimes you find out stuff, and I just want to push the things away from all what we're talking about, but sometimes you find out things later on that is so bad to you, it just makes your blood boil. I found out recently that allegedly one of my attorneys, David Kenner, was involved in the assassination of Tupac and me getting shot, and of witnesses, but that's another story.
I told you, Mr. Knight, you don't want Reggie Wright as an enemy. You out there trying to put me, you trying to insinuate and play games like me? You're better off with me being a friend than an enemy. Stop coming on YouTube saying one thing and then running back when you get on the phone and call me.
So you talking about the Piers Morgan interview, y'all? We about to dive deep into the Piers Morgan interview with Suge Knight, Marion Knight, I think Junior or something like that. I don't know the Marion Knight Senior or whatever. I don't know what. I know the man named Marion Knight out there. But we about to dive deep into it. They got some clips. We still with Scandalous Most Los Angeles.
Saying another thing, I'm not playing with you no more. Cause you playing with my freedom. Cause you playing with my freedom. Cause you playing with my freedom.
Why is it that no one still can explain why
People tell somebody they can't hear you.
Welcome back to Scandalous Los Angeles TV, where we expose the exposers. The day we've all been waiting for has finally arrived. Marion Knight did an exclusive interview on Discretion TV, and he's not holding back this time. The other day, Reggie and John dropped a video on Bomb First, featuring a secret recording of a private conversation between Reggie and Marion Knight.
So look, this call right here, Suge did not know he was being recorded on this call right here. Like, and then you recording on a federal line and all that. But at the end of the day, bro, you should at least let the man know you was recording him, bro, like from jail and stuff, cause that's kind of like, nigga, like that's kind of wild, bro. That's wild, dog. That's some wild shit, though.
Correctional Facility, San Diego, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Thank you for using Global Pay Link.
Hey, what up, Big Chill?
I'm good.
Oh shit, man. Hey.
Look, Suge don't even know he was being recorded.
Talk to,
Okay.
you know?
I know you talking about. Okay.
Yeah. At the end of the day,
Look, he just letting him talk.
anything I got to deal with him, I'll have a conversation with him, or I had a conversation with him, but, that fool he's been over just came on, right? The rat.
Okay.
Like, dude,
Yeah, I know you talking about.
alright.
Uh-huh.
You know the couple of those dudes over there where, Black girl from, right?
Okay, I know what you talking about. Yeah.
Alright. They stuck with that dude. They always stuck with that dude. Some OJ time behind that dude, you know?
Okay. Okay. Gotcha.
They've been trying to talk to a lot of those dudes. Some of those dudes, like, playing both sides. They trying to put something together, you know?
Okay. You know you don't fuck with the rat, though. You know him and the rat done fell out majorly, though.
Which verse you talking about?
Uh.
When he came on, right?
Huh?
When it came on?
Yeah. You know.
No, not that rat.
Like, these motherfuckers, they feeding the questions and shit. He just recording everything this man's saying. That's disrespectful, dog.
Oh, okay.
You know the DMF.
Got you. Oh, okay. I didn't catch that. Okay. Got you. Okay.
Yeah, who give a fuck about that rat?
Oh, okay. I thought. Okay. Yeah.
That's it. So look,
Hey.
some of those dudes, right?
Okay.
When they all went to, when they was all doing their time, they all got caught, you know, saying the shit that's awful. Even though they from over there, they was saying the other shit. You know?
Yeah. Okay. I hear you.
So, and you know, I know a lot of them too. And you talking, so they was all, they had their name in their mouth, you know?
Okay.
They're trying to, you know.
I got you.
Tell me, this option don't shut that.
Got you. Okay. Yeah, man. Okay. That show you still got love for that nigga. Okay. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I know. Yeah. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah.
Like this. You know, motherfuckers look like kids, you know.
Yeah.
Who gives a fuck how you took down whatever you're trying to do?
Yeah.
You know the truth. You know, if I was there.
Hold on.
What makes Zaxby's giant chicken finger quesadilla so giant? Crispy fingers, sauce.
You know the truth. You know, if I was there.
Marion had no idea he was being recorded, and definitely didn't give consent.
That's disrespectful.
In that audio, Reggie exposed some information that Marion clearly never intended for the public to hear. And let's just say, it didn't sit well with him. As a result, Marion hit up Discretion TV for an exclusive interview. And this time, he's not pulling any punches. This is exactly what Reggie's been afraid of all these years. Reggie and Porky both really pissed Marion off. Now Marion's letting it all out. He's questioning how Reggie Wright was able to afford The lifestyle he had while supposedly living off a cop's salary.
He was stealing from him.
He's asking the real questions. Like, what was Reggie really doing before Marion gave him a shot as a security guard?
Bullshitting.
Marion also calls out the irony. If he's the one known as Simon, then why is Reggie running a company called
Simon Says
Publishing?
Simon Says Publishing. Come on, bro.
He doesn't stop there, though. Marion's going in on the whole industry, asking how people with zero talent, who can't sing, rap, or dance, and couldn't find real talent if it smacked them in the face, somehow became the gate.
He talking about he was the head of security and then he took over goddamn Death Row. You a goddamn lie, my nigga. Fuck I am with this shit, bro.
Keepers of the culture. People with no credentials and no legacy. Yet they're the loudest voices in the room.
So look, man, you gotta look at it like this. The people who have something to do with the culture of hip hop, and want to do something hip hop, it's all the same ones. You know what I mean? Because
this Suge Knight right here talking to y'all.
That's who it is. Because we don't always see the eye to eye, but regardless the West Coast, East Coast, Midwest, down South, everybody added something, brought something to the table to make hip hop what it was. Right. Now, you get motherfuckers who never had nothing to do with hip hop for no one. But they want to attack, they want to attack, they want to attack.
I guess it's fine. Now, Wack always had a head on the shoulder for business. And not just, you know, we used to have a term, it's a derogatory term, and then Suge used to call, it actually was stunt dummy. We used to call, and he wasn't a stunt dummy. And that was a word that Suge, you know, take the stunt dummies to this, take the stunt dummies to this.
Okay. Now, when you listen to...
So Wack 100 sitting right next to Reggie White Jr. and basically goddamn told him in front of his face that him and Suge used to call him a stunt dummy. That's hilarious, bro. That is hilarious, my nigga. Like, I mean, God damn.
Crazy over black calling punk rap. This stupid motherfucker put his mouth. Yeah, it's true. One of the people that told me, let me hear what he said about me letting him know to tell Wack that they was on his head. Somebody close to him. And he was like, oh man, you don't want to see him dead, huh? I'm a man of God. I don't want to see no one dead. I believe somebody get their ass whipped, but I don't believe.
Hey, you hear what he said? I'm a man of God. I don't believe nobody's life should be taken. And that Suge Knight said that, bro. So, we're gonna run that back. We gotta run that back.
I'm a man of God.
Hold on, we're gonna run it back.
Somebody close to him. And he was like, oh man, you don't want to see him dead, huh? I'm a man of God. I don't want to see no one dead. I believe somebody get their ass whipped, but I don't believe. This call has your telephone will never be monitored and recorded. You have the power to call those shots and see who doesn't die. Only God should be able to do that. So I don't play those games. So yeah, I gave him a heads up, even though Wack did always up the line and said a lot of shit to try to make himself look famous. Back in the day, I did even fat pork belly heads up because don't get crossed up. Number one. Number two, whenever I say once, I can say twice. When we should play the whole audio, I bet you raise that point back, where you say, well, I said, even though the motherfucker lied and said he had to pay for my mother's funeral and I came and asked him, was a lie. Did he throw some shade? Okay? Yeah. So nobody needed this shit. He said, well, you never said nothing about his mother being a crackhead. I said, I need people mother's out of this.
even though he crossed the line, crossed the line and mentioned my mother, I'm not gonna go and say Wax mother's a crackhead. And but the one was like, yeah, we all know she's a crackhead. She puts his bastard. I'm not gonna talk about people's mother. Right. I'm not gonna get to the point and say where his name come from or who acts like who. I ain't shooting no shots at this dude, but I know he's gonna get mad anyway, say something. Whatever the fuck you say, Wax say. Because we know, I put the complex with you, a lot of motherfuckers to be behind bars. But I'm already in prison. Ain't pork butt, ain't pork butt, ain't pork butt. The recordings when you send your grand jury and tell you to make sure you go PC. Ain't nobody never ran me up to go up, nobody never win. And I guarantee you, people can talk to lawyers and say, we're trying to combat me, that I don't know you. People can tell and say, I lost 300 million. You do that, that's on you. Now, if they do some fraud and some crazy stuff, of course they do. They do that to all the black men. They do that. Because all the broke motherfuckers be happy when the real motherfuckers fall. Now back to pork back.
Damn, son.
Now back to pork back. You got a company. It's called. Everybody know who's signing it. You got a company you call a big signing. Writing letters to Universal, stating that that's your company and they owe you money on publishing from All Eyes on Me and all these other projects. When did you ever buy any publishing? When did you ever have any money to buy any publishing? Your house, you bought with my money.
So he's saying the man bought his house with his money. Damn. That's fucked up. That's fucked up. That's some wild work, that boy.
And then you put it in your wife's name, trying to hide it. I don't even know if you still got it. First, my building, show the check where you bought my building. I never see nobody there to buy a building on the police side. I never see nobody there to buy a building on the police side. I never see nobody there to buy a building on the police side. Now, I tried to give you respect and tell your father. I tried to give you respect and tell your father, you know, motherfucking daddy's boy, to get the shit squared away. Now your bitch ass says something about my mother again, you fat motherfucker. I'm already in prison. When your ass come to prison, I'll be waiting on you. When your ass come to prison, I'll be waiting on you. When your ass come to prison, I'll be waiting on you.
Those words hit different for Reggie.
Damn,
He's no stranger to the system. He's already done time, and he's not trying to go down that road again. It's crazy that right when it seemed like Keefe D was going to be the one to take all the heat for Tupac's murder, all of this starts coming to light.
You said, I want to repeat first of all, everything I know about your fat ass is that number one, you remind me of that motherfucker of a diary of a bad woman, black woman, whatever it was, Tyler Perry, when the man was in a wheelchair. Fat ass. If you have any love or respect to my homegirl, you know, I ain't gonna put her on the bus, but we know we close. Your wife.
Damn, son.
If you have any
Damn,
respect,
son.
let her go. I'm in prison. You don't see me, I don't even look you. You don't see me trying to press on that to come see me, because you got a right to me. I'm the one doing this time. Your fat ass is one cripple. Let your wife go and let her live a life. You don't think she gets tired of saying, okay, brush your teeth, here goes the water, spit it in the tap. Are you hollering? My God needs to be changed. Why you gonna let that pretty nice woman at the same
Damn, now my diaper need to be changed.
Damn, son.
Everybody wanna act like I'm running with the problem. Whatever y'all said about me was fine. I never liked it a million motherfucking years. In a situation that most people never get that opportunity to live. So God bless you. When it's time for me to die, I'm going to heaven anyway.
Brother say when it's time for him to die, he going to heaven anyway.
Damn, son.
I'm never scared of it. And let's go back to you. You was a deacon at the church. Selling dope at the church. You was a cricket cop. You was a deacon at the church. Selling dope at the church. You was a cricket cop. All your crimes got 40 years or more. All your crimes got 40 years or more.
Simon, for the record, you're saying, Simon, for the record, you're saying
he's a deacon in the church.
Reggie Regional Junior
Is
was
a deacon.
A deacon in the church?
A deacon at the church.
For selling dope at the church.
What's bad is even worse than that.
Come on, bro.
You got
Damn, son.
money laundering, whatever you chase, you, your father, and that other game that was had.
No,
Now,
check this
basically,
shit.
let puppy go.
This crazy, right?
Because, according to y'all paperwork, 100% put the paperwork up there. Because, according to that, the gang members was taking money from a whole different state, nothing to do with that, and putting them $3 million in your father's bank account. Not yours, not your wife, not theirs, your father's. And your father got no time. You did what? 6, 7, 8 months? At the same time, let's walk it all back. How was you living before
He gave him a job. A job. Yep. How was you living, nigga? How was you living?
I gave your fat ass a job doing security.
Was you living good before you met Shug? No.
Name one thing that you accomplished without using money.
Damn, son.
Thing that you bring wacko every time you turn around, every story's about me. Everybody want to say, oh, look at me in the car. Whack, we should never have nothing back to tell about. You win with the mouthpiece.
Yeah, you got a good little mouthpiece on him. They can talk, but you some bullshit.
Period. Fuck all the talking, but you want to post a picture, as what tells me, and send it to me, as you in the car, and I'm driving and you on one side, and one time you have to get in my car, probably. And you say, look, I'm not the driver. No, you could be the driver. Your feet ain't long enough, your legs ain't long enough to match the gas pedal. And you get that motherfucking picture, you can see my whole body and me. That's how trust you. All the stuff is going to be the ugly. I'm not going to keep on that little kid. But back to you. Let's start this all over again. So, y'all say I got AIDS. I know I don't. But tell you what, every bitch you can put your into per month, I have to bitch first. Why you did it first? So, you sound stupid as fuck. But we know you're y'all always got a diaper company. He don't have no love for you. You should be getting free diapers. Instead of getting free diapers, you still paying for them. Let that woman go. She shouldn't have to be changing your fucking diapers.
Damn.
you want to host a low-key brunch, but you're getting married. So, a bachelorette?
You have to be changing your free diapers. You shouldn't have to be changing your fucking diapers. You never had a fight. Okay, one motherfucker tell me in my neighborhood anywhere they beat up me. The homie will snatch your fat ass out your car, poured gumbo on you, and took your car, and your dad had to come there back down and beg for your shit back. Your father is clapping you as you told. I'm not gonna say who, but you know who y'all told. Why was your father and all his cop buddies in my box at Stapleton? Why was y'all in my house?
So he said the man was in his box office. Well, you know when you go to sporting events, you get like you rent out boxes. And I guess Suge had, when he went to jail, he had, I guess, paid for a whole year. And they when he got locked up, they went to the box and enjoyed the game and shit. He said something about a yacht on here. We gonna
When I was in prison, when you couldn't be in my house when I was on the streets. Your father in the cookie cops. Why was your father, your family, in the rest of the cookie cup? Oh my God. Was your father, your family
on his yacht? That's crazy.
In the rest of the cookie
That's
cup?
nasty work.
Oh my God. Is that not fucked up? You trying to tell me a man like myself had 2 yachts, and y'all don't talk about me, but your father, the rest of the cookie cup, is on my yacht in the marina every weekend when I was in prison. So you trying to tell me a man like myself had 2 yachts, and y'all don't talk about me, but your father, the rest of the cookie cup, is on my yacht in the marina every weekend?
Damn.
When I was in prison.
Simon, I heard a recording that Reggie said that he's going to share audio with you discussing about women that is in your life and is going to make it difficult for the rest of your 9 years. He's trying to like say he has something on you about your relationships with women.
Check this out. Whatever cook butt can tell a bitch I love, and when you start fucking with me, that's the wrong bitch for me. She shouldn't be fucking with me. And she can listen to a motherfucker who got lots of claws, who can't fucking walk, who shits on herself.
Damn.
And she can listen to him, don't listen to me. But I do know this. It's definitely not going nowhere. As a matter of fact, I don't have to say any woman. Only one. Had all. I always choose to have one as I am today. Me at 60 years old is not the same when I was in my teens and my 20s and my 30s and my 40s.
Earlier, we heard Marion Knight say he found out that David Kenner allegedly had something to do with the murder of Tupac. So now, with that in mind, listen closely to what Reggie says right here.
And I'm gonna pat myself on the back now because I'm cocky now. But David Kenner, to be honest, and that's who I give credit to Shiv for teaching me the game and all that. But Shiv was good too, you know, as far as dealing with marketing and stuff like that. But David Kenner, man, David Kenner took care of that company and took care of him and gave us a lot of good advice. And even when I was told not to talk to him and communicate with him about business stuff, only thing, just let him concentrate on getting me out of prison and stuff like that, I would still make calls to David and like, how would you deal with this situation, David? She was telling me to do this, well, how would you deal with Timmy and Brian Turner with this? She was telling me to do this, well, how would you deal with Timmy and Brian Turner with this? Yes, it will always be right on the advice he gave me. Stop listening, to David, and then eventually me, who was still piggybacking off of David.
Think about this. You have a friend that you decided to employ. Not only did you employ him, but you funded his entire security company, giving him $300,000 to get it started. Now you're behind bars, trying to run your business from prison. You give him clear instructions. Don't bother the lawyer. Let him focus on getting me out. But instead of listening, the guy you're paying goes straight to the lawyer anyway, asking what to do, completely going against what you just told him. Kevin Hackey said it plain. When it's all said and done, Reggie will be the fall guy. But Reggie's not going down quietly. He's already pointed the finger at David Kenner and Jimmy Iovine, saying they were really in charge.
I remember Jimmy Iovine was so mad at me. Jimmy Iovine, when I started running Death Row Records, used to do things that I know he probably wouldn't even have done for sure, but he did it to make it happen, to make me look good, and to stay in contact with him. Did an article on him.
So he basically,
Imagine never having to leave your pet.
he basically gonna tell how he fucked his own self up.
Let's support pets. We provide a
If he would, so basically, if he would have stayed down with Jimmy Iovine at this point, he would have still been good. But he picked Suge over Jimmy Iovine, and that's what really fucked the whole situation up. With Reggie Wright supposed to do whatever he was supposed to be doing.
First we did something where we put his house on this tape that we were doing called Death Row Uncut. Yeah. And then we put the address and the direction to his house there, tapping at it. The second thing we did was we did an article about him in U.S. Newsweek, where we was pretty much talking about the Lotus Tucker situation and Bob Doyle and all of that. And U.S. Newsweek was a big magazine at the time. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, and so we were going to say something bad, talk bad about him, and laying out a bunch of stuff because I had the writer come up to the prison and wrote all this stuff. Of course, the writer went back and told Jimmy all the stuff we said, and Jimmy had a lot of connections, and then he got the article stopped. But he called me in the office and he said, Reggie, you doing all of this to me, and you sitting right there with him because you know about it, and you ain't calling letting me know, you ain't giving me hands up to this stuff. I gotta find out on my own. I said, Jimmy, wait a minute, I work for Suge Knight. I'm Suge's friend. I'm loyal to Suge. Right. And he goes, Reggie, you gonna learn one day who got the real power around here and who doesn't. Ooh. I always think about that. Everything, how I think about Jimmy Iovine.
So as the walls close in,
that right there, that's what he told on himself, bro. Like, if he would have fought with Jimmy Iovine, he would have been good. But he didn't.
Reggie's making one thing clear. If he's going down, he's taking the real masterminds with him.
Why is it that no one still can explain why people kill somebody they can't hear again? People kill somebody they can't hear again. People kill somebody they can't hear again. Why would I be paying $350 per day if they can't carry guns?
Now you, I guess, instruct everybody not to carry guns.
Inside of the club. Inside of Club 662.
Even though it's your club.
Goddamn.
You can carry. I know you can carry guns on your private property as long as you're.
You're a goddamn lie. They caught him in a lie right there. The fuck?
We just had. I don't believe you should have. Everybody should have guns inside clubs. I just think it's bad for security reasons, because you have 20 guys in there with a gun.
But he told the security not to carry guns the same night.
Guns, and you got maybe 2,000 to 3,000 people inside of a nightclub, a small area.
Yeah,
it's not good.
We've all heard Reggie's excuse by now, and you just heard it again. He claims he told his security team not to carry guns because Marion was in the process of buying Club 662. and they were trying to secure a liquor license. According to Reggie, weapons inside the club could jeopardize that. Sounds convenient. But here's the real problem Reggie doesn't want to face. If Simon was the owner, and the one paying Reggie for security, why didn't Simon know the guards weren't carrying weapons? Why didn't Reggie tell him? Why did Reggie instruct his security guards not to let Marion know? They were told not to carry any weapons.
Should call the meeting. All the artists were instructed to come to this meeting, and certain security was invited, and I happened to be one of them. But prior to going into the meeting with Suge and all the artists from Death Row, Reggie met with us out front in his own meeting. But I'm going to add something to that. We were also instructed to lie by Reggie Wright to Suge. And the reason we were instructed to lie was because Reggie Wright told us not to carry any weapons. So I have, by me just looking at what Reggie told me, I'm thinking that Mr. Knight was unaware. The meeting was basically about what happened. And the artists were drilling security about what methods we had used and what were some of our tactics.
And we know from looking at the statement that Suge Knight gave to the Las Vegas Police Department that he fully expected that Frank Alexander and every other bodyguard there was to carry their weapons. So whatever the case might have been, Suge Knight didn't get the message.
I looked around and no one said it. No one was speaking up for security. And it looked like Reggie wasn't going to say that information to them.
If Simon is the boss, and he's footing the bill, he should have been informed, period. But he wasn't. And that's what's gonna trap Reggie at the end of the day.
Why would nobody never answer the questions? They go, when they talk about me and try to drag him up, that's called a distraction.
Damn,
They
son.
go in these platforms and podcasts,
Damn, son.
but they never ask no questions about them. Why is it accusing you? Why would you, why they had a grand jury on you? What the ball with? When I got shot, and when Tupac lost his life.
Damn, son.
We create unique fine jewelry that feels designed just for you. With it.
Well. Good Night's just been on Piers Morgan, and if y'all haven't heard it, you should listen to it. Because it's everything we've been saying about this for about 12 years. And now, it's real dangerous for Suge. It's real dangerous for Suge Knight right now. You know, Reggie Wright Sr. used to run the Twin Towers Correctional Facility for the sheriffs. So he has a lot of ties into the prison complex, the prison industrial complex. And that's Reggie Wright Sr. Reggie Wright Jr. just said, if I let you get out of prison, which was a veiled threat for sure.
If I let you.
It's a veiled threat
If I let you
sure.
get out.
Go take your beds so you can come home. You don't want to die in here. You don't want to die in here.
Welcome back to Scandalous Los Angeles TV, where we expose the exposers. Day 3 of the Reggie versus Marion saga, and it's getting nastier by the minute. Simon has completely taken the gloves off after hearing Reggie speak on his mother. That hit a nerve, and since then, he's been on a mission. He's not just throwing shots online anymore. He's going on nationally televised talk shows, calling Reggie out by name and implicating him in the murders of Tupac and Biggie. Just today, he sat down with Piers Morgan for a full hour. Piers kept asking about Diddy, but every time he did, Simon redirected the heat back to Reggie. He also shared a piece of unknown information about his former attorney, David Kenner. It looks like Simon isn't going to let him get off the hook that easy either. Before we get into it, I want to show you exactly what Reggie and John down at Bomb first just did. Right here, you can see they hit me with a trike and got my video taken down. They claimed it was cyberbullying and accused me of violating YouTube's policy on unwanted sexualization. The notice says I posted content that describes someone in a lewd, degrading, and sexually explicit manner, and supports non-consensual sexual imagery. That's a serious accusation, and it's completely false. All I did was react to a video where Simon told Reggie that every girl Reggie had, he had first. I didn't say it. Simon said it. I just reacted to a public interview like everybody else. But this is what they do. Reggie once told me I had no subscribers and that I barely pulled 2,000 views. But the second I drop a video that gains traction, he and John start playing computer games. What's crazier than that is the fact that Reggie's YouTube channel is full of the exact kind of content he's trying to strike me for. The hypocrisy is insane.
It was 1996, and incredible to think it's nearly 30 years ago when he was shot and killed. You were alongside him in the car. Many people have speculated since that Diddy ordered that death of Tupac. Is that your belief?
Well, first of all, I got a bullet still today, a 45 bullet that inched to my skull. You can look at my medical records and see the x-rays and see it's in my skull. They didn't remove it because they said it was with another inch. He'd either been a vegetable or dead. Now, for as what they say Puffy did and didn't do, this is the facts. The facts of the matter is this. It was a guy named Reggie Wright Jr. It's a guy named Reggie Wright Jr. It's a guy named Reggie Wright Jr. who was over security. He didn't work directly for Death Row, but he had a security company called Right Way Security, who did security for Death Row with off-duty police officers or guys with CCW. Everybody knows when we go to a fight in Vegas, we're going to be at the Tyson fight, and we're going to be at my club they call Club 662. You can go to that club, you'll see Mary J. Blige perform, Jodeci perform, Tupac perform, Snoop and the Dogg Pound, Andre. I mean, unbelievable talent in one place. That night was going to be Run DMC East Coast night. Reggie Wright Jr. told the security they can't carry firearms. The sad thing about that, Pac hated Reggie Wright Jr., so he had fired him before any of that. I don't know the right date, but I'm quite sure it was. This paperwork just shows it. But the crazy thing about that, it was a bodyguard named Frank Alexander. Pac hated Frank. He was cool at first, but towards the end he hated Frank because Frank always wanted to get into pictures with Tupac. And Tupac was very militant, so he was like, man, I don't want a bodyguard taking pictures with me. How is he watching my back if he getting himself in the pictures? So I hired a guy named Michael Moore and told him to bring another off-duty police officer because they kept their gun and they was real aggressive by protecting Tupac. So on the way to the fight, Reggie Wright Jr. told Michael Moore he can't carry his weapon when he's doing bodyguard work for Tupac.
Damn, son.
On many occasions, and never have they told me to leave my weapon. Why would I leave my weapons in a vehicle or in a hotel room, and I'm personally guarding Pac in one of the most hottest places to be? I got into a little argument with Reggie Wright at lunch over, he said, Mike, I'm putting Frank back on, and I'm taking you back off. And I said, Reggie, that part doesn't make sense. Why not leave me and Frank on Tupac?
At 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the afternoon in Las Vegas, at the Luxor, security was all run together by Reggie Wright on the night on the day that Pac was shot, and we were told not to carry weapons.
Your busiest season is behind you. Now it's time to refocus.
Not to carry weapons, because we were all armed. We were told specifically, do not carry your weapon. And you find that kind of strange? Yeah, everybody got to go to fight at the casino and everything.
So the night Pac got hit up and Suge got hit up, the head of security, Reggie Wright Jr., told him not to carry weapons.
Well, he thought it was strange.
What sense does that make?
Damn, son.
That's what we were told. Now, I, at the meeting, was one of the few questions, asked one of the few questions. Why would you tell us not to carry our weapons? I think the reason they removed me from Tupac was because I was one of the few people that wouldn't buy into not carrying your weapon. And during no part of that day did I take my weapon off. And Mr. Wright knew that. And Mr. Wright knew that. And Mr. Wright knew that. So they removed me off Tupac, so there wouldn't be a weapon there. So they removed me off Tupac, so there wouldn't be a weapon there. When Reggie did that and I questioned it,
damn, son.
He's never done. He's never stayed at 662. That day, he stayed at the club. Then why would he need me there? And why would I be taken off of Tupac?
Michael Moore said, well, I'm going back to the hotel. If I can't carry my gun, I can't protect myself or Tupac, so I'm not going. So Reggie Wright Jr., who nicknamed that Pac gave me, pork butt. So pork butt goes and says, Frank, you can go, but you can't bring your gun. Now, everyone knows you can't be a bodyguard without a gun.
Can't be no bodyguard without no gun. That's simple. Bro, that's simple. Like that ain't even math, bro. That ain't even common sense. A bodyguard should have a gun.
Right. Tupac got into another guy. It was a big fight. After that fight, after we stopped at a few places, we go to my house. I told Frank, I told all the security, I told everyone. Pac just beat up a well-known gang member. Send 4 or 5 guys extra to the house to escort Tupac to the club. Reggie Wright Jr. refused to send the security guys, refused to show up. That wasn't a coincidence. It was a murder for hire hit. It was a murder for hire hit. It was a murder for hire hit. We was locked in. It was more than one shooter.
Damn, son.
Only person know the truth, the real truth, is me and Tupac. He's not there to tell it. Only person knows is myself. But Reggie Wright Jr. tried to change the whole story of the narrative, what actually happened, and he was not fair. Snoop, who everyone knew at the time, wanted Tupac dead. Snoop had a meeting with Daz, Corrupt, Nate Dogg, the Dog Pound. Said, we're not going to Vegas. This is their words, not mine.
They said they ain't going to Vegas.
We're not going to Vegas.
They're not going.
Unless something's gonna happen. Somebody's gonna get killed, right? So, Corrupt tells the story.
Out of curiosity, man, you know, since you was a part of...
And they were acting scary, like... Damn! Y'all acting scary as fuck, bro, before this fight, dog. Like, that's spooky.
So, Dog Pound, and you was a part of, you know, Snoop team. How did you find out that Tupac got shot in Vegas?
I was in the Bay, the D-Shot, and it came on the news because Dog said we're not going to Vegas. You know, we gonna post. So, you know, he called us to the house and was basically like, look, this is what we doing. DPG, we ain't going to Vegas.
we gonna post.
Dad tell the story.
Snoop and Suge worked it out at one point.
Yeah, but we didn't. Snoop used to say, man, keep Dad back. Keep Dad back. I'm like, fuck that shit. I could have jumped out over his ass in Vegas, but, you know, it was killing me. But Snoop was like, hold up. Oh, fuck this time.
Warren G tells the story.
So he never went to Vegas?
He never went to Vegas. He didn't go off top. So we watched the fight. We doing everything, watching the fight, having a good time. We was hanging out, you know, some females and shit around. They was hanging out, everybody chilling and just having a good time, you know, just, and then he got a, you know, just like a gang of homies, gang of homegirls, and then it's like, then he had this, the Nextel back then, remember the motherfucker?
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of Nextel he had, but he had, the motherfucker could go, that whatever it was hitting him all the way from what was going on from Vegas.
Wow.
So they was like, we could hear the shit, and then he started getting calls and shit, and they was telling him that Tupac got shot and da-da-da-da. So Snoop, I kicked everybody out. Get the fuck out of here, everybody. Get out of here. And then he took off. That's when he went to Vegas.
Now, what Dad says, when Snoop said that after, damn, we can't go to Vegas, who's going to get those niggas? They're already going to get that, basically. Corrupt tells the story and says, once he tells everybody they can't go to the fight, can't go to Vegas, turns around,
The new How to Train Your Dragon menu is now at BK. Get it before it disappears. Oh.
Nate Dogg says, I'm going to go to Vegas. Because I'm going to Vegas, I'm going to be around basically me and Pop. He said, as long as I ain't around them.
Nate Dogg went though. He was like, I'm going. And he went out there to go have a good time. He's like, I ain't got to be around all that going on with them. I'm going to go by myself and do my own thing.
I don't have to worry about getting shot or getting a stray bullet. That lets you know premeditated plan. Warren G says, when the fight was going on, he was watching at his house. Snoop came over to watch the fight. Snoop had a walkie-talkie. These walkie-talkies, he only got this walkie-talkie that I bought for security and a principal that security doing security with. And it worked on all the West Coast. So if you're an artist and you go into the mall or you go somewhere, they have a walkie-talkie, security have a walkie-talkie. If you're not going to an event with any of the security details, you don't have a walkie-talkie. Because I didn't buy that many because I wanted to be exclusive. They had them out who was needed. Are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, so Snoop comes in, according to Warren G, and he got this big walkie-talkie. They start hearing the gunshots. When we getting shot, Snoop listening to it in real time. Pow, 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 all over the radio. That's when he tell him, hey, I gotta go. They just killed Tupac and shot Suge. How would you know? Nobody said that on the radio, you just heard the shots. Now, Reggie Wright Jr. and Michael Moore in the car. They get on the radio, and they say, hey, got him. Another guy gets on the radio, they say they think he's a white guy or lawyer, and they say, hey, don't talk on the walkie-talkies on the radio. Don't talk on the air.
While I was working at 662, I heard something over the Nextels that we all carry for security. And what I heard was, got him, got him, got him. Then someone else came on the radio and said, hey, don't say nothing over the radio, which was the Nextel that we were using radio to radio. And I just clearly heard somebody say, don't say that over the radio. But the person who said it was not Homeboy security, nor was it one of our security guards. It was, to me, it would be like a stranger. Someone, and the person that said that was Caucasian, definitely not African American.
Right? So, to move things forward, maybe, I don't know if it was 6 months, or however it was, since I've been in this prison right here. Somebody played that for me with Michael Moore said. So when I know the attorney David Kenner always says, You could be on your cell phone and people be talking like, hey, I'm talking on your cell phone. Somebody listening. They recorded and you can't do that. They're listening to you. So I know that's the saying. So jokingly, I told Dave, I said, hey, was that you on the walkie-talkie? Because that's your line. Don't talk on the phone. But now you're the one saying don't talk on the walkie-talkie. So, that being said, David Kenneth goes and says, sure, I never had a walkie-talkie. I would never have a walkie-talkie. Would I need one for it? Never. So I'm saying, wow, he's so big out of shape, but I was joking about it, right? I said, you never had a walkie-talkie? He said, that's not me talking on a walkie-talkie. I never said he was talking on a walkie-talkie. So that raised red flags and things that much about it. And sent some of my boxes and files to another attorney. Yeah, another attorney got it, right? At the time, he wanted the boxes back. That didn't make sense. So when we discovered a walkie-talkie in the boxes, you know, nobody puts something in the box that they're going through the exact same way. So the walkie-talkie, my guess, probably was in one box. When they looked at everything and read through everything, and they was asking me about this walkie-talkie, they put it in another box. Kenner, a guy named Steve that worked for Kenner, when they grabbed the boxes from another lawyer he has it, went and stole the wrong boxes that the walkie-talkie was in, but we still got the walkie-talkie. I said, send me a picture of it. So on my tablet, can send photos, so they sent me a photo of the walkie-talkie. It blew me away. One part of me, it made my blood boil. Another part of me, I had seen Tupac face flash off in my mind. I see these motherfuckers involved with assassination. So I tell Kenner about it. I said, David Kenner, you said you didn't have a walkie-talkie. Now you had one. Now you had one. Now you had one. So after that, our relationship after 37 years went cold. He went and told the judges. He would start trying to come off my case.
Chevy is called the heartbeat of America. Like the people who keep this country moving. For them, only America's most...
The judges. He would start trying to come off my case. He tried to sabotage my case. He did, and everything I'm telling you about is the proof.
For anyone wondering why David Kenner suddenly withdrew from Simon's case, according to Simon, it's because he confronted Kenner about allegedly possessing one of the Nextel radios that Simon's security team used the night Tupac was murdered. Simon claims that when he confronted David Kenner about having one of the walkie-talkies used by his security team the night of Tupac's murder, Kenner initially denied having any reason to possess one. However, according to Simon, they later discovered that Kenner did, in fact, have a walkie-talkie. Simon believes this confrontation is what led Kenner to attempt to withdraw from the case. He also noted that it was ironic because Michael Moore recalled hearing someone say over the radio, "Don't say anything over the radio," a phrase that Marion says was one of Kenner's favorites.
So it's really fascinating stuff, because I remember this all happening in real time. So it's fascinating as to hear you talk it all through in this way. It's like a sort of murder mystery episode. But ultimately, I've got two questions. Do you believe Diddy had anything to do with it? Because it sounds to me like you're more convinced that Snoop Dogg had more to do with it. Was Diddy involved at all, do you think? And if it wasn't him, then who do you think ultimately ordered that hit?
Well, this is the thing. This is what I do know. I know TPD, who I've been knowing since a little Pop Warner football. TPD says that Puffy and them approached them and gave them money. TPD says if he go to prison for, this is his words, TPD says if he go to prison for the Tupac murder, Reggie Wright Jr. gonna go to prison for Biggie's murder. So all these things going back and forth. You know, who knows what? Absolutely what. What we do know, money was paid out. What we do know, according to the police, not the police that actually doing the investigation, the cricket cops. You gotta remember.
Did you ever ask Diddy directly if he'd been involved?
Well, that question would be no. Since all this happened, I never had a situation to have a conversation with Puffy. Majority of the time Puffy see me, he going out the back door or going down the street somewhere. Only time that I ever had a conversation with Puffy, and it wasn't even a real conversation, I was at the Roosevelt Hotel having dinner. Somebody came over to my table and said, Prince, I want you to come watch his show right now. I said, Prince performing? I said, yeah. And Prince a real gangster. Prince, he liked the bullshit. So I go in and they sit me at a table with Puffy, Nas, two other people. Prince playing his guitar, he walked to the table and looked at me, looked at Puffy and started laughing. You can tell he playing the whole thing. Next thing I know, I lean over and tell Puffy a few words, and before I can finish my sentence, Puffy gets up, his people gets up, and they cover him with coats and run him out the hotel.
Oil change time, Candace. Remember when your boyfriend said he knew a guy who didn't know what he was doing?
On the 16th of November 2023, a bombshell was dropped in the entertainment industry. Singer Cassie Ventura filed a lawsuit under the New York Adult.
Five or six times, probably half a dozen
Yeah, and I bet you were just about on more family on those school fires. I only remember 2 or 3 times meeting regarding that.
Okay,
Well, I mean, this is like a potato situation.
Yeah, it was 20 years ago.
Yeah. And then the one time I brought down regarding the baby that's doing my job. What's the way down I remember?
Hey, Reggie, I'm not fighting you over this stuff. We persuaded you. Hey, Reggie, I'm not fighting you over this stuff. We persuaded you offering assistance, and like I said, one of the reasons that I think the FBI is very successful in a lot of it. First of all, the FBI or any law enforcement department that does investigations, we do not exist if we cannot make people feel comfortable about talking to us. And the way that you make people feel comfortable about talking to you is that you don't divulge who they are and you don't talk about them.
I don't have a problem about that. My problem is, like, I'm over here providing information regarding things that was going on at Death Row. That's what I was arguing about. And was saying I was not an informant of LJ's or yours regarding anything regarding Death Row. It was regarding the school fires and getting a contract with the school. And
I have a quick question. What were you bringing the girl to the FBI for? What were you bringing the girl to the FBI for?
You've discussed that on a live stream, Reggie. Go ahead.
Huh?
You've discussed that on a live stream before.
I'll tell it.
I know.
I ain't got no problem. I'm not trying to cover up shit.
Oh, I'm telling the audience that, these aren't new questions, so go ahead.
I wrote this down because they were doing the Vegas politicians out there where she was questioned about some inappropriate activities that went down for trying to open up the club. And they wanted to know about that.
Like
and so they went come raiding her house, coming to Death Row or anything like that. I was contacted by either Mark Anderson, who was a fellow company cop, or LJ. I believe I met LJ through Mark Anderson, and I told him, hey, I will bring her down as head of security for Death Row and let her explain what happened.
The girl Reggie is talking about is a girl named Teresa Swan, who is the mother of one of Marion Knight's children. She is also the one who said she gave Poochie the money from Marion to kill Biggie. Not only did Reggie take her to the FBI, like you just heard him explain, he also took her to Greg Kading and the LAPD to give them the story that would close Kading's book. So not only did Reggie put Omar Bradley behind bars, he also helped place the blame on Marion Knight for the murder of Biggie.
Where did the whole Poochie theory come in? It kind of seemed like it came from Reggie Death Row King. And I don't know, could that be a red herring at all?
Well, you allow yourself all of these options. You don't go into it and just commit yourself to a theory until you've had a chance to look into it, investigate it, explore it, and do all of those things, and hopefully substantiate it. And so with Poochie, his name had come up early on in the investigation. His name was on paperwork from the very beginning. So it wasn't anything new. It wasn't Reggie told us about Poochie. He was already in it. We knew that Poochie had been involved in other murders. He was wanted at another time for another murder. So he was always a person that we were aware of. He was just not a suspect in the murder until we started to explore the possibility of him being a suspect in the murder. And that came at the time when I think Roderick Reed.
I've been up all night. Sleep regression is hard. Oh no, you sleep through a grave. His dad and I?
When I think Roderick Reed.
It's this guy named Little Rod. Roderick Reed
was the first one to send a letter to a guy named Kevin Hack.
Yeah.
And in that letter, it mentions Poochie. And Roderick Reed from prison is saying, hey, he knows Poochie killed Biggie. So we had that information early on in the case. So we then began to develop that lead and see where it went. And of course, Reggie enters the picture when we interviewed him. Reggie doesn't really tell us so much about Poochie. He just leads us into a direction where we meet a female. He just leads us into a direction where we meet a female. He just leads us into a direction where we meet a female who then substantiates some of the things that could have, we believed could have been true.
Right, so just so you know, Reggie.
Wait a minute, Phil. Is that a record of how it happened? Hello?
I don't know. Reggie, I'm not speaking about this female.
Okay, I don't want you to.
She's not on the phone with us.
Okay, all right.
And again, I'm trying to be respectful of.
I got you. Okay, I understand, but I'll tell you.
For one thing I will tell you is, just because you provide information on a particular topic, your involvement in the hip hop industry or the people that you rub shoulders with or the people that you know, if you don't think your name came up on numerous occasions regarding numerous different things and events, regarding the whole death row cases, which were voluminous in terms of the number of cases, or in terms of my case regarding trying to solve who killed Biggie, then you would be sadly misguided.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying.
Whether I was down there providing information.
Yeah, he's trying to just make sure it's clear that he wasn't an informant.
And I wasn't down there saying, oh, so-and-so killed Biggie.
This is the next level stuff I'm talking about. Reggie just admitted that he worked with the feds to get the mayor put behind bars. Even after his own admission, the man is still saying that he isn't an informant. He'll be right back on Bond First tomorrow, calling somebody else a rat. It's exactly like his protege CS2 back. 137 informants, playing on the stupidity of the people.
So-and-so did that. I have never did that.
And we never said that you did. We
I
never
just
said that
you need motherfuckers on this YouTube with that.
Okay, well, maybe these friends of yours that are listening or watching on YouTube or whatever.
I mean, Reggie, what would the fellas in Compton say? They say, would they have?
That was my job. My job was to deal with the law enforcement.
Reggie and his buddy John have a pretty cold scheme they're running here. So Marion Knight hired Reggie as the head of security, just so Reggie could take Teresa Swan to the LAPD to help pin the murder of Christopher Wallace on him. No big deal. That was his job, according to these two.
Okay, and that's fine. I think it's fantastic. But, to sit here and parse out when you talk to the FBI, when you didn't talk to the FBI, when you talk to the FBI.
Because he's showing he's not an informant of the FBI.
Snitch. Was bringing people down to talk about something and all that. They're sitting up there saying, so-and-so did this. So-and-so did that.
How about this, Reg? Why don't you go into a federal prison and talk to the guys from the 80s and the 90s who sold drugs and killed people, who didn't talk to anybody, and ask them whether if you go down and talk to the FBI about anything, what you are
Okay, so you guys have an agenda to paint him as a snitch.
You've been on that. You've been on that motherfucker.
That's why I didn't want him on here, Reggie. That's why I didn't want him on here, Reggie. That's why I didn't want him on here, Reggie.
John, let me deal with you. You've been on that guy channel and been professing that you got.
I'm
a snitch or something like that. But now you're saying that I'm doing this in the scope of my job, and it's not like I got on the stand or pointing somebody out, and then you want to make it, a cop shouldn't go and or head of security of a company, a big corporation, shouldn't go and talk to the police.
Oh, hey, Reggie, let me step in for a second. I think we're kind of talking over each other. When and again, you've admitted that you've worked with the FBI, so
I admitted that I have brought. I admitted to Omar Bradley.
Understand this. For every time that you spoke with the FBI, okay, we never told anybody. Nobody ever did. Reggie, take a breath for a second. Okay. We never ever would tell anybody, or we never did tell anybody that you're cooperating or you're providing information or anything like that.
Your boy Don here on Choke channel, who's related to you, who everybody considers y'all are the same.
Who's John? I don't even know who John. I don't know who John.
Don. I said Don. D-O-N. Don.
All I spoke about is what transpired when you talked to Phil the first time.
Reggie, let me clear this up, because I think you got the wrong conception here of Don or what we've said about you. You got to understand something. You might be providing information about Omar Bradley, but you don't know if Omar Bradley is providing information about you. You don't know if the people that are working security for you at Death Row Records, you don't know if they're cooperating either. Hold on, Reggie, hold on.
People that have talked against me and talk and try to say stuff about me. That don't mean it's true.
What? Can I finish?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Reggie's not sick right now, full of COVID right now.
I know, I like it when you're fired up like that. But no, here. We don't tell people who's cooperating with us, which means if you provide us information, we don't tell people. Just like if other people provide information to us about you, we don't tell you. Doesn't mean that we believe everything. We would never ever run. We would always corroborate things, or we get other independent sources to corroborate things. That's like one of the big things. Not to divert over to the biggie thing, but that's one of the big things. It's not like you have one person or two people providing information on who was involved or who covered up or who did this and who did that. But when you have multiple people, and in this case, forget about talking about the biggie, let's just talk about your situation at Death Row Records. If you think for a second that you are the only person at Death Row Records that was providing information to the FBI, you would hold on. No, it does. It does, because the information that people provide, we go out and we independently corroborate, and we do operations, and we do covers, meets, and things like that. We wire people up. So I don't want you to think for a second that somebody tells us one thing and then we just run with it, and they tell us like, yeah, you know what, Reggie's involved in this, that, and the other. We don't just run with that, but we'll corroborate it. I'm not talking about what the FBI did. I'm not talking about what the FBI did or what Reggie did in 1997, 1998, 1999. I'm talking about what Don is going over there
in 2024.
Well, how about this, Reggie? I'm sorry, whatever I said, I choked. No,
Oh,
we can move on,
I'm
'cause
just
this
trying
is
to
boring.
prove that it's not sexual. A snitch is somebody that's working within an organization and from going back and providing information. Not telling Suge Knight, hey man, I'm taking your girl down there, we're going to talk, because these motherfuckers want to talk to us about X, Y, or Z. That's not a snitch. It's,
And we've been,
yeah,
This to me is boring. I think you can ask any gangster. Oh, no, listen now, that.
Why did Biggie's mom drop the case? I'm curious what you guys' perspective on why Biggie's mom dropped the lawsuit.
I'm gonna need a new headline, right? Yeah. You got any ideas? Carparts.com always delivers.
Biggie's mom dropped the case. I'm curious what you guys' perspective on why Biggie's mom dropped the lawsuit.
There was dropped the lawsuit.
Yeah, it was,
oh, my, she
Did you say the mom didn't drop the lawsuit?
Why she did not pursue it a second time?
Why did she pursue it a second time?
Correct.
That's a question for Perry Sanders.
Correct. But that's what he meant. That's what he meant.
That's all.
Why didn't she not? That's all he said.
And then one more question real quick. A user asked, it's Alex Alonso from Street TV. He asked, ask Phil Carson about his relationship with Black Special Agent Wade Lee and his undercover work in Compton.
Who asked that question?
Street TV. It's YouTube.
Yeah, he has a big YouTube channel.
I'll answer it this way, because I don't want to speak on behalf of Wade, because yes, I know Wade. Reggie, remember when we were, when I ran into you and Mob James about 3-4 weeks ago?
Correct. Hold on. Let me tell where, because y'all, people like this. We was at ABC Studios in Glendale filming a piece that's about to come out on Nightline. Okay? So, is that correct? Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Damn, son.
Now, do you remember when I was sitting there talking? First of all, I had never met Mob James before. I was familiar with who he was, obviously, through the game.
Hey, guess what? Guess who you didn't even also recognize? You wasn't even for sure if it was me, right?
I knew it was you.
Oh, you knew it was me?
No, it was you. I was just stunned. I hadn't seen you in what, 15, 20 years.
And I was in a wheelchair.
You were sitting here in a wheelchair and stuff like that, but no. I mean, I'm the one that came up to you, right?
Correct. After, and hey, Reggie,
but anyways,
getting
back to this question. Getting back to
You
this
was in a
question.
wheelchair?
The person asked the question, obviously, more knowledge than what anybody on this call realizes. Because this person that asked the question obviously has more knowledge than what anybody on this call realizes. Remember when I walked up to you and I walked up to Mob James, and one of the things that I asked him, I said, hey, do you recall the name Wade? And I asked him that, and he just says no. Okay? Well, he should. And I'm gonna leave it at that in terms of one of the things that I
don't know why Street TV, now I know why Street TV.
Yeah, now I do too.
And I know now, that's why I was ignoring.
One of the things, here's the thing, one of the things that I wanted to do, and I had mentioned this to Don way early on, and this is when Greg Kading was always on, he was on Gangster Chronicles and Glad TV and stuff like that, and I said, the only way that I would go on Gangster Chronicles if they had the entire crew there, and I would go down the line, and I would put each one of those people in a corner and ask them questions and see if they were going to tell the truth or lie in front of their own homeboys. Because I'll tell you what, every one of those guys on Gangster Chronicles has a story, and it's not a story that they want to get out. I'll leave it at that. So for this person to ask, hold on.
Reggie, right? And this is what I'm talking about the Chronicle now. Are you just talking about Reggie back then?
No, I'm talking about back then.
No, you know about Alex? You talking about Alex?
I'm talking about all those guys. Hey, trust me,
Reggie, we are told. Is there any more to this Reggie story?
that situations. I don't know what happened, like I said, from the time we met, but the only time I ever talked about anything to Bill or LJ was regarding.
Yeah, we cleared
I know that, but you gotta say more questions. You go back and say shit like that.
Reggie, get off this thing about using this just to try to clear your name or promote whatever. I'm letting you know.
I'm trying to promote. I don't need 573 people in the chat to help with that. I get this one. I get this in a half hour. So I don't need it.
Okay, first of all, since you brought it up a couple times, let's just speak the truth here, okay? Over 500,000, okay, and I've seen the analytics, I have the data. Over
You got the
500,000
data.
subscribers to the dossier. So every time you
Yeah, the data.
try to crack a joke about saying we only had 1,000 or there are only 1,500 people, you know what? That's a lie, and you know.
I don't know. I was talking about your choke no joke friend. I don't know what you get on podcast, but I don't know how to read
Just let that go.
Why do you care about him so much? That's so weird. Like,
because I hate people that trolls Reggie's right. And then people that go over there and support them talking about Reggie's an informant because Reggie doing that for a motherfucker that don't even know what he's talking about.
well, we moved on from it. We moved on. We got to take more questions.
Okay.
Take more, come on.
Listen, hey Reggie, I'm apologizing to you. I'm sorry. Let's move on and take more questions. I think this is interesting. We already had one interesting question about.
That was a hell of a question, by the way. Kudos to that person, because they obviously know more than.
Yeah, and they hate James, so
Yeah.
that's probably why they asked that.
Okay. There you go. All right. Next question.
question.
You got one.
How many times, Don?
Let me say this. When I say trolls, I'm talking about the ones with negative stuff.
Reggie, let me.
I'm not talking to you, brother. I'm not talking to you two, though. I'm talking.
Yeah, let me throw this one thing out there, and then we can move on, okay?
Okay.
If there is ever an opportunity where you can get all of the people from the Gangster Chronicles, from the original cast, and you brought them all together, and you brought me and Don in there, you will be guaranteed to see fireworks. I promise you, and it will make people uncomfortable.
Well, I'm not trying to shit on Alex Alonso.
I'm not trying to shit on anybody either.
I'm not trying to shit on James McDonald. And Reggie is here to whatever you got to say. And I thought we done address it. You can do it. Yeah.
I'm not gonna. I'll just leave it at that. And people can read into whatever they want from that.
Well, Reggie don't worry about Reggie right now.
Okay.
So,
Well, that's
anybody else want to deal with
Adam Barron.
Yeah. That's it. I mean, by the way, like you told me not to bring up other people into it. They're not here to defend themselves.
That's why I'm not talking about it.
You talking about them.
No, I just said if you want to get some fireworks for your podcast,
I don't need no fireworks. I don't want to hear about it.
Sure you're doing just fine. I haven't said a word about any of them. Not a word.
You just said there'll be fireworks if you get them in a room and corner
There'll
them.
be fireworks, and I guarantee you.
But the insinuation, it's the insinuation, though.
Let's go. What else? You say we go down some questions. Phil, this is Phil. Do you believe Reggie Wright Jr. or Reggie Wright Sr. had anything to do with the murder of Biggie Smalls?
No.
Okay. Can I ask a question now?
No, can I add a little? No, listen, that's a big question. That's a big thing. That don't need to be just brushed over. So go ahead and you can elaborate, Phil.
Okay. Do I think that you are coming clean with all the information that you have of events that took place and the people that were involved within Death Row Records? And some of those people were involved in law enforcement and were involved in the killing of Biggie? No, I don't think you're providing or you're telling everything that you know. That's that's based on.
My question here, I have nothing to do with it. Yes.
No.
Okay.
Did you pull the trigger? No. Were you in the vicinity? No. Do you have information? Do you have information?
Yes.
That is part of the full umbrella or scope of the Biggie?
Before or after? Before or after?
Then I would say yes.
Before or after this has to do with the murder of Biggie Small?
I would say you have information, well, before, I mean, once the murder's done, it's done. There's nothing after.
When you say cover-up and stuff,
When you say it's I knew
not part of the cover-up. No, I don't think it, no, I know Reggie's not part of the cover-up because I know who is part of it.
Okay.
That's indefensible.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother part of this case that is 100% undeniable of who was involved and how the cover-up took place. I know there's idiots out there like Greg Katie who keep saying about how there's no way this crazy conspiracy theory of Agent Carson and the FBI. No, it is factual, it's documented, and it's indefensible.
Well, are the documents public though? Are the documents public? Because to say it's factual, it's that not everybody has access to what you have.
Everything. There's a difference between talking about an ongoing investigation versus talking about the cover-up.
Gotcha.
That 100% took place, and it's indefensible, John.
Okay.
It's all factual, it's all documented, and for anybody to say, oh, it's impossible for the LA Times and LAPD and the DA's office to be in cahoots to try to shut this down, they are 100% wrong, period. I'm not saying the entire LA Times and LAPD. People need to understand something. I do not have a problem with the LAPD. I have a problem with one person in particular.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with the DA's office.
Yeah.
I have a problem with a couple people there that had serious issues that got kicked off this case. I don't have a problem with the LA Times per se. So I have a serious problem with one particular
12, 13 other people, 12 or 13 other law enforcement agencies from your agency as well, Jeff, that was on this case. Do they believe and concur with what you said, or do they believe and concur with the findings that Greg Hayden came up with?
Without question.
Without question.
There is not one person, and I've spoken to people on his task force. You can watch these documentaries of people that have, say, narrated it. There is not one person that believes Greg Hayden. Not one.
Okay.
I just have a simple question to John and Reggie.
Okay, I have one for you guys too that I've been trying to squeeze in. But go ahead, Don.
What exactly do both of you think transpired?
Can I answer that, Reggie?
Yeah, that's easy. We told you. Everybody told what murder rap findings.
I'll say this, Don, and this is what one of the questions I was gonna ask you guys, but the reason why I believe murder rap's findings over what you guys are saying, and I'm not saying you guys are wrong or you're lying or whatever, because I don't think somebody's washing their hands or doing something crazy, but is there's a confession. I would love to get you guys' take on how do you explain Teresa Swan's confession?
Oh my God.
So this is Don, and this is for Phil, not Don. Don, you have no experience. This is for. Don't say this is insulting. This affects somebody's life who has kids. It's not insulting.
That's the year bullshit. That's why it's insulting to you. That's why.
You know what? You guys are fucking clowns, both of you.
I told you not to let him on, Reggie.
I did bunch of stupid.
You're a clown and a rat. That's who you are. You're a fucking rat.
And you called Reggie and begged to be on this channel for the last 3 months because you guys have no fucking views.
Another character you'll appreciate who very recently also has decided to continue to have his own mouth and speak publicly online in videos is Reggie Wright Jr.
Of course.
Yeah, and I know you've done so much work around this. Why do you think he continues to partake in conversations, innuendo? He recently threatened Suge, in a video after Suge had kind of called him out in his podcast, and now these two are going at each other. What is your interpretation of why someone like that would just continue to talk? Is he just an idiot, or is there more there?
Well, it's
both and. I mean, yes, he's an idiot, but he has motives as well. I mean, he definitely felt threatened by Suge and has a lot of animosity toward him, Suge, and he, but Suge knows stuff about Reggie. Of course, Suge would have to admit his own culpability, but he certainly knows things that, I mean, he could tell the feds in particular about various things Reggie did, mainly, and not just mainly, but certainly to hide assets at Death Row Records. I mean, that's for sure. I mean, the feds already know it, but I think that Reggie has managed somehow to play everybody off against everybody else, and that includes law enforcement. He is he's an informant / suspect in all of these crimes. He's an informant / suspect in all of these crimes. He's an informant / suspect in all of these crimes. So, and they've, for whatever reason, valued him as an informant more than they've wanted to target him as a suspect. And so it keeps him relevant. It keeps him, sort of in the game. And I think that really, I think that's what Reggie does for a living now, is talk to law enforcement about all these related cases.
Use a rat, homie.
Don't throw $2,000 in the trash with the Google Pixel Fold. There is a government subsidy program that gives you Google Pixel smartphones completely free. Yes, free.
Okay, y'all kicking me in the Comment Cafe. I want y'all to like, subscribe, share, definitely hit notification bell. Appreciate everybody for coming through here, and we just gonna keep eating, and we just gonna be like.
I got beans and greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, ribs, beans, green, potatoes, tomatoes, chicken, beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, ribs, beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, chicken, beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, ribs, beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, chicken.
All right, y'all. I'm gonna holler at y'all, man. Peace. One.